Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. This will just be a very quick intro to this reading vlog that I'm super excited about. You might know that I've said on multiple occasions that I wish to keep up with 2021 releases so that I can be an active participant in the Goodreads Choice Awards and like other book award things, and like be able to say that hey, I did read that book, or hey, I read multiple of those books from that one category or award. The thing is though, half the year has passed and I have not really read that many 2021 releases yet. I've read like 2 or 3, I think. I need to up my game. I have a bunch of books here that I quite recently purchased or that I've collected now throughout these 6 months. For this particular vlog, I will be doing the 2021 releases that I've been anticipating and that I'm very excited about. At the moment, I have 4 books in mind that I will read for this video. The first book that I'm crazy excited about is Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Imidie. So sorry that I butchered that. This is like, I can't even explain how excited I've been about this book. Ever since it was about to get released, like I think I started in May, I literally checked on the bookstore online every single day to see if I could order this one, because pre-orders aren't really a thing in Sweden. So it just arrived yesterday. I've started reading it, I'm like 60 pages in, and this is definitely one of my most anticipated 2021 releases. I will talk more about what the books are about, like in their separate parts of this video. The next book I've been really excited about, but I got so disappointed by the cover, is Tokyo Ever After by Emiko Jean. I wanted the pretty cover, the blue one. I got this one because I guess this is the paperback edition. This is a quite short one. I also mentioned this one in my 5-star predictions video. I have some friends that have not been that impressed by this book once they've read it or listened to it. My expectations have been lowered, but I still hope that it can at least be an enjoyable read. Another book also in my 5-star predictions videos that I've actually been anticipating for ages is The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. This one was released in February, I think, or I instantly got it as well because I've been anticipating this for a year. Once again, now that people have read it, I have not heard like the most incredible things about it. YA seems to be the theme for my anticipated releases for some reason, I'm not sure why. Finally, one more recent find, like I didn't know about this really beforehand, is Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. Yeah, it's like a contemporary, not sure if it's YA, I think it might be YA, about 2 sisters who drift apart, but then later on they need to reconnect because they find out that one of the sisters has cancer. I've only heard amazing things about this. I've only heard amazing things about Mary H.K. Choi as well. Those are the 4 books I plan to read and give you my opinions on. I did it. I finished reading Ace of Spades, one of my most anticipated releases of the year so far. I've been meaning to do like a halfway through the book sort of update. Didn't really get to that. I just kept on reading. Basically, I started reading this one 2 days ago. I read like 60 pages 2 days ago. Then yesterday, I read almost 50%, but I was like out late, I was on the bus, so I read on the bus and stuff like that. So really no time for me to do like an update. And then this morning, I've just been continuing to read it. So I finished the book and I haven't told you a thing about it yet. This was cool. I finished a 480 pages long book within 2 days basically. That's the first thing I want to say about this book. This book is very fast paced and definitely a page turner, so it's not difficult to get through at all. First of all, what is this book about? In this book we are following 2 characters. We're following Devon and Chiamaka, who are the 2 only black kids at this very prestigious and fancy private academy. The 2 of them really don't have anything in common except for the fact that they are both black at this school that is very dominantly white. They're in their senior year, they both have ambitions for the future, what they want to do, and suddenly this anonymous texter shows up named Aces who starts exposing their secrets. And this texter is only targeting Chiamaka and Devon. Basically they're trying to figure out what's going on, who is this Aces, why are they exposing us, what's the deal? And this book was marketed as a Gossip Girl meets Get Out. You get the Gossip Girl vibes very early on in the book, like basically from the first chapter. The get out part comes much later, but when it hits, it truly hits in like the creepiest and coolest and really interesting way. Also like the cover. This is so stunning, it looks so cool. Also need to do like a quick shout out that this book actually has the trigger warnings for the book on the inside. I might just read them out loud. We have trigger warnings for racism, homophobia, bullying and suicide ideation. I will also mention that if it's triggering for you that there are characters being outed. This is a very engaging and quick read, I would say. It's definitely super fast paced and a page turner. My initial thought when I started reading this is that it read quite simple, like it didn't feel advanced at all, which in some ways might trick you to feel like, oh, this reads quite young. But the thing is, like, the characters are not young. The characters are 17, 18 years old. The subjects and things that they are doing, that are happening is like, there's sex, they are swearing, there are drugs. It's not that there are young themes in this book, it's just that the writing made it feel like it was very simple and easy. But that definitely changed as you continue reading it. The thing with this book is that it just gets better and better and more intense. Like, my favorite part of the book was easily the final third, but it's not that I disliked the first third or like the first half of the book. Definitely not, but it keeps growing, it gets better and better. This is the sort of book that you kind of like, if you just keep reading it, I promise you that you will have a good time. When you start reading it, you are intrigued, because you know that there is something simmering, like something might happen. There is something simmering with this book, and that is what will hook you and get you to keep reading it. The characters themselves, they are not the most likable characters. They are young, they make mistakes, they make decisions that you question, like, hey, why would you prioritize that when you have this entire other thing going on? But at the same time, like, they're 17, it makes sense that they're not doing like these big brain moves. And even though they're not likable, the characters are definitely relatable. You can recognize yourself in their feelings, their emotions, how they wish to perceive themselves, their goals, their ambitions, their relationships with other characters, which is also like a bit difficult because you don't want to find that you can relate to a character that is not likable, but also that's just life. I think the characters does make a lot of sense, especially if you consider their age and the things they are going through and where they are from. You might get frustrated by the things that they do sometimes, but like, why would you do this when we know that this thing is going on? It's been a while since I read a mystery, so I did find it a lot of fun to try and figure out who Aces was. The mystery in itself, it's not that it's obvious, but it's not too difficult to figure out what's going on. A lot of the puzzle pieces and like hints and clues are right there in front of your eyes. That's when we get to the get out part of the book. And the get out part of the book is just like, it's there, it's doing its thing, it's freaking insane. Also, I want to mention is that this book is not afraid of going there. It's not afraid, it's not scared of making these drastic statements and comments on society. It doesn't like hold back, which I appreciate. I do appreciate that sort of like tough love sort of commentary. How should I summarize this? This is a very, very good YA contemporary mystery thriller. The commentary on society is great. The marketing Gossip Girl meets Get Out is spot on. The writing is not the most impressive writing. It's quite simple, it's quite easy, not too descriptive, definitely not flowery or lyrical at all. Even though the writing is not the most impressive one, it definitely serves a purpose in making this book very fast-paced, and this book is definitely a page-turner. You read this for the story, not for the writing, not for the character. So if you do enjoy a very plot-driven book, I think this would be for you. My personal thoughts. I've been waiting for this book so badly, and then it took me ages to just get this book because other things in my order were delayed to finally have this one and to finally have read it. I got it on Monday. Today is Thursday. How often do I read a book that I just recently purchased? That doesn't really happen. Is it my favorite book of 2021? No. Did I expect that it would be? No, I didn't. Was it an enjoyable read? Definitely. Will I keep the book? Definitely. Did it live up to the expectations? Yeah, it did. It didn't exceed my hype and my expectations, but it definitely lived up to it. I'm not sure yet what I will rate it. I did put it in on Carpile, and Carpile says that it should be a 4-star. I do think I agree. Huge shout out to Farida. She's a great sport on Twitter. I've tried to interact with her her, and she's a lot of fun, and she loves like Disney Channel and High School Musical and stuff like that as well, so that's very cool. Shout out to the fact this one has trigger warnings on the inside of the book. The cover is stunning. A lot of things about this book is stunning, so I do highly recommend it. Please check it out, please give it a go. So now, what should I pick up next for my reading my most anticipated 2021 releases? Next up for me to read is Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. This will be amazing, I'm very excited about this one. Two sisters move from Seoul to San Antonio to New York. They drift apart, but then one of the sisters gets cancer, and the other sister is the only one who can basically help out. I'm intrigued, I'm interested, I'm excited, let's go. I haven't started reading yet, I will. I just need to say that I'm very surprised to see a Billie Eilish quote on the first page of the book, basically. I don't know if this is a discussion in itself, it probably is, but like pop culture references in book. This isn't a reference, so like this is an entirely different thing. It can just be an inspirational quote. Similar to in Ace of Spades as well, there were quotes from Gossip Girl and Get Out on the first page of the book, sort of to, I guess, set the mood, set the spirit, the vibe, whatever. So it's not a commentary on this is completely fine. I was just a bit taken aback. But like pop culture references in books, I'm not sure how to feel about them, because they might not always age that well. In many cases they don't, in many cases you get confused. I don't know, maybe I should do like more of a commentary or a video about my thoughts on pop culture references in books, because I feel like I have quite strong opinions about that. Can definitely discuss when it works and when it doesn't work, in my opinion. We're gonna have to see. A Billie Eilish quote. Okay, interesting, cool. Let's move on. Here quickly again, I just want to comment on this like author's note in the beginning of the book. It's actually quite nice. I want to read it to you. It's also sort of a trigger warning in some ways, which is great. It starts off with, "This is a work of fiction that mirrors aspects of my own history with disordered eating, dysmorphia, and bulimia. For those struggling with body image and food, this story might be emotionally expensive for you. Please be gentle with yourself. Sensitivity is a superpower. And please know that there is no such thing as a bad body. Truly, take up space. It's your birthright. Love, Mary." I like that final bit. Take up space. It's your birthright. That is quite beautiful, actually. Hi, I'm here for an update. I've been reading Yolk. I have not really been sprinting it in the same way that I sprinted Ace of Spades, but I thought that I could at least give you an update. I'm currently on page 66. I just finished chapter 10. I think that equals to about 15 or 20% into the book. So we're following Jane and June. The story is mainly told from Jane's point of view, or so far only told from Jane's point of view. As I said, the story is about these two sisters that used to be very close when they were younger, but then they drifted apart because of reasons that we don't know yet, and then they are brought together again because one of the sisters, June, gets cancer. I wasn't certain if this was young adult or like new adult or whatever, but I would say that it's new adult/adult. I think they're around 20 years old. I think June might be 23, Jane might be 20, so it's not YA, and it does not read YA either, which I was a bit surprised by. This reads very differently than I expected. The writing is so different from what I had expected. If you've read My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Otessa Moshfegh, this book, Yolk, reminds me of that one. What stood out for me with My Year of Rest and Relaxation was that the writing was very bold, very unapologetic, like it was straight to the point, definitely not flowery, very unique. I remember being so fascinated by the book because of how different the writing was. I wanted to find more books that were similar to My Year of Rest and Relaxation. And now that I started reading this book, like 2 chapters in, I instantly were reminded by My Year of Rest and Relaxation. So there's something with this writing, also because I think the characters are quite similar in the way that they, I guess, are depressed. Jane, who we're following, she compares herself a lot to other women and to her sister who's older. She doesn't, I guess, feel really that accomplished in her life so far, and she has some struggles and issues of her own, is dealing with an ex-boyfriend and stuff like that. And I guess that character simply reminds me of the main character from My Year of Rest and Relaxation. I did not expect this at all. I definitely thought that the writing would be more flowery. It's very bold and the opposite. Or not the opposite of flowery. Like, I'm not sure how to say this. Part of me wants to say ugly, but I definitely don't mean ugly. It's not ugly. It's not an ugly read. Like, that sounds wrong. That's definitely not what I'm saying. If you've read either one of these two books that I'm talking about, you get what I mean. Perhaps you have a better way of describing it than I have. So it took a turn when I started reading this one. I'm still very intrigued. It still reads very quickly, very different from Ace of Spades. Ace of Spades was very straight to the point, not descriptive at all, just like go, go, go. This definitely has more descriptions. It's also still very straight to the point, but more descriptive, bit more flowery, I guess, in comparison to Ace of Spades. Yeah, I am intrigued to continue with it, see how the story develops, see how the character relationships develops as well. We are thrown straight into the plot, into the story, which I appreciate. That's my update. Hi friends, I want to wrap up one of the books I've been reading. Yesterday I finished reading Yolk by Mary H.K. Scholl. This was a very interesting book, very different from what I had expected it to be. Final third of the book, I actually really started to enjoy it, and like I wanted to read and continue and know what's gonna happen. So like I did get attached to the characters in a way that I kind of didn't expect to, I guess, because they are so unlikable. These are probably some of the worst characters I've ever read, not in the writing, not in the construction, but just like in the way they act and the way they are. But I did find myself get attached to them. This one, Yolk, I gave 3 stars. Perhaps like a 3.5. The plot is a bit scattered, it's a bit messy. You kind of think the story would be about one thing, and then it turns out to be about something completely different. I wouldn't trust the synopsis too much, honestly. It makes you believe that this is one sort of story, when in reality it isn't. And while I'm at the topic, I just want to mention that there are trigger warnings for eating disorders and also like disordered and compulsive eating. It's kind of subtle at first, but during the second half of this book it definitely becomes more prominent. It was an enjoyable read. I had a good time reading it. I have started to read Tokyo Ever After by Emiko Jean. This is the worst cover I've ever seen. So I'm at page 85. My goal is to reach page 100 by tonight, and then I can go to bed. So far I am quite disappointed, not in the story and the plot itself, because not that much has happened, although I'm almost a third through it, but by the writing. The writing is so simple and so YA, like there are no consequence or like conflicts at all throughout this book. This book follows Izumi, who lives in California with her mother, and she one day just finds out that her father is the Crown Prince of Japan, which means that Izumi is a princess. She has never known her father, so then it's sort of this like Princess Diary sort of story of her going to Tokyo and I guess like trying to become a princess. Sounds fun, right? Well, the writing is so simplistic and there are no conflicts at all. When she finds out who her father is, she doesn't question it. She or her family or her friends, they don't question anything at all. They just accept. I got into the part where she has arrived in Tokyo. Things are too easy and simple. She's going to these events without any sort of prepping at all or anyone informing her about the correct protocol. That would never happen. I have watched The Crown. I know how royals act. That's a joke. Yeah, I would imagine if you are to be a part of a royal family, you should get some sort of training, basically before even meeting the royal family. No consequences. No conflicts, it's very simple, no one questions a thing. I am quite disappointed so far. I don't know why I put it as a 5-star prediction, because I think you can tell from the synopsis and the fact that it is YA, it wouldn't be a 5-star read for me. It's so casual in the tone as well. This book literally uses me, also me sort of meme format. That is something I only ever see on Twitter and on Tumblr. I don't want that in my book. That's sort of my reading update, I guess. Sorry I didn't plug in a mic or something, I couldn't be bothered, I need to go to bed. So far, 2 books into this reading adventure, working on the 3rd one. We'll hopefully soon get to the 4th one. Okay. Hi y'all. I'm filming on my phone because I couldn't be bothered to put forward the camera and all that. Today, this morning, I finished reading Tokyo Ever After by Emiko Jean. I have some opinions and thoughts. No, this was not it. This was not it, unfortunately. Things I did not enjoy about this book. The writing, mainly. And also the logic. I think those are the two main things. The author threw in some things that I don't think should be in a book. We had like the me also me sort of meme format that you typically see on like Twitter and Tumblr. Same thing, there was a moment when she was like, when the main character fought, because I get this is first person, so that might be why the writing is the way it is. There was a moment when the main character fought, I'm not crying, you're crying. And that's also like a meme sort of format. It's a way you communicate, absolutely. Not something I like to read, and like the writing in general was a bit lacking. I did not enjoy the dialogues either. I thought that the dialogues were very just weird and different. So the dialogues were just a bit off. I didn't really enjoy how the children communicated with the parents, like how the friends communicated with each other. It just felt so weird to have certain conversations in certain ways that this book didn't. I didn't really care about the characters that much. There is not really an explanation for how she finds out that she's the princess, or how she finds out that her father is the prince of Japan. It's all just a coincidence that is never explained, never discussed or explored or anything like that. Same thing with like everything that happens in Tokyo and at the palace. I think this is a 2-star, close to being a 1-star, honestly. So now that I've finished reading this one, I have finished reading 3 out of the 4 books that I plan to read for this particular video. The next one I should read is The Gilded Ones. Oh, it's so lovely and floppy. But the thing is, only Yolk was on my actual July TBR. So I'm a bit behind on my actual TBR for the month. So I think, as a break, and just to give myself a chance to catch up on my other TBR, I will pick up The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and I'm actually really excited about this one, so I should get to this one because, as I said, it's on my July TBR and I haven't really been reading my July TBR, and I'll pick up The Gilded Ones and continue this video at some other point during this month. I'm getting stressed. So see you some other time, I guess. I finally have another update for this particular vlog. I've been reading some other books, I've been focusing on other stuff, but I'm back to continuing with my 2021 releases, and the book I'm currently reading, or just started reading, is The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. Yes, finally getting to this book. This is the 4th and final book in this vlog that I'll be talking about. I've read about 50 pages in this one. I started it today. Some backstory to this one is that it is like my most anticipated book of 2021, or it was. It was released in February, I think. Everyone was so excited about it, but then I haven't really heard that much about it, which is never really a good sign. Some say that it reads younger than you expect it to. I'm not sure what I think of it yet. It's very fast-paced, but I also don't really pay that much attention to it, I would say. It doesn't really stick, the things that are happening, and I don't really feel like I'm connecting to it that much yet. I think I'm just waiting for the plot to actually start. This book is about a girl she lives in a village, and they have this sort of like purity ritual where they kind of draw your blood when you turn, I think, 15 or 16. So they draw your blood, and if it runs red, you are pure, which means that you can officially enter womanhood and have suitors and stuff. All this girl wants is that her blood runs pure, so that she can just prove that she fits into this village. Due to certain events that happens during this ritual, this is like in the first few pages, her blood does not run red, it runs gold. And if it runs gold, it means that you're impure. So that's sort of like the setup to the story. Basically, the thing is that she will join this army of other impure girls that are meant to protect the emperor. I'm waiting for the army training and things to come into action, because I think that will be the part I enjoy, and when she starts interacting with other girls that are similar to her. I don't know how I feel about this entire pure thing and impure, and there's a bit of racism, and like obviously she's meant to have a lot of struggles, and this world is supposed to be very unfair, where like girls can't really walk alone, you always need to have a man with you and stuff, which of course is very real in some parts of the world. Not the biggest fan of how it starts out, but I am hoping that it will get better with time. It is 400 pages long, I have a bunch of reading left to do obviously, and I'm gonna keep you updated. But yeah, finally continuing with my 2021 releases. Hi! It's been like a month, quite exactly a month, because it's the 1st of August now, since I started this project of reading 4 of my most anticipated 2021 releases and also 5-star predictions. I finally managed to read The Gilded Ones. I finished it just the other day and I do have some opinions. Unfortunately, this book did not live up to my quite high expectations. This was probably my most anticipated book out of all of these ones. It's not that I dislike this book, it's just that I never really got that invested in it, I feel like. I didn't connect to the story, to the characters, and just the writing didn't really do it for me. So the story itself is interesting. It's about this young girl who finds out that she has magic and she's being recruited to this sort of army for the Empire, and there's a lot of secrets about her, who she is, what happened to her mother, like a lot of things like that you will figure out during this book. This book did a lot of telling, not showing, telling you that someone had this conversation with this character, telling you that that relationship had developed as well. It never really showed the reader when those things happened. We never really got any of that emotional development. I feel like I was missing that quite a lot. I mainly like the relationships, like how people became friends, how people got interested in one another. That was never really shown. It was more told like, yeah, now they're close now. I'm like, okay, but I never saw that happen, so I can't really feel, I don't really understand how they got close because I didn't see it. The writing in general as well is a bit more shallow, I would say. So it's not as descriptive, it's not as complicated, it's very shallow, which makes this for a crazy quick read. I read these pages so fast. I didn't really connect to the writing, didn't really connect with the characters. What I did enjoy in this book was the actual world. I also feel like that's one of the downfalls of this book, because there was so much world building missing. I would have loved if there were more world building done in this one. I did enjoy this world and like sort of the magic part of it and the history part of it. I would have loved to know more. It did many things well, but not good, if you get what I mean. So I wasn't interested and I was quite bored, and for me it was just, I just wanted to get through this so I could finish this book, finish this vlog and get to some other freaking books. But in the end I gave it like 2.5 stars. I'm very, very neutral about this book, unfortunately. So those are my thoughts about The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. So in this video I read 4 of my most anticipated 2021 releases that I sort of expected would be 5 stars. Did they live up to that? Unfortunately no. None of the books I read were 5 stars, and I don't blame the books for this. I blame myself. Unfortunately, it seems that I still don't know myself well enough to be able to predict which books I will love and which books I will dislike. But that's what this video is for, right? I'm just trying to figure it out, and hopefully in a while I'll be better at predicting my thoughts and ratings for the books I read. My first read was Ace of Spades. I really enjoyed this one. I read it so quickly in like 1 or 2 days. I gave it 4 stars. Not sure why it didn't reach 5 stars, but I guess it's just I didn't have that pull to it. It's not a book I love, but I'm so happy I read it. I think it's incredible. I would definitely read more by this author in the future, and I highly recommend everyone to read this one because it is a really good time. It messes with your head a bit. If you like how it's pitched, Gossip Girl meets Get Out, this book definitely delivers. The next book I read was Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. This book I gave 3 stars. A very interesting book, very different than what I had expected it to be. Also another book that I actually greatly recommend. I do recommend everyone to read this one. I'm not certain that everyone will enjoy this book, but hopefully this book can help you figure out if you enjoy these sorts of books. The third book I read was Tokyo Ever After by Emiko Jean. I have already unhauled this one. I gave it 2 stars. Once again, it's on me for expecting it to be a 5-star read. I should have known, like, that's entirely on me. It is entertaining, but it could have been more entertaining. There were too many plot holes, not enough things were properly explained. And then the final one, The Gilded Ones by Namina Forna. Unfortunately, another disappointing book, another 2-star read. I was not really invested in the story or connecting to it. That's mainly it, I would say. 4 books. No 5-star reads, 1 4-star, 1 3-star and 2 stars. Do I know myself? Apparently not. Nevertheless, I am super happy that I did read all of these books because they have been super anticipated for me. I'm happy I read them during the year they were released, first of all. I had a good time reading them. I would say that in some ways this project was a success, but in some ways it wasn't. What I do know is that I do want to make more of these videos in the future, where I read either my 5-star predictions or perhaps recent releases. I can already say that I plan on making a similar video very soon. Thank you so much for watching, please take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye!
You gotta just go for it. Don't think about what